Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You know, a good way for we here at the Watchdog on Wall Street show to judge the growth of this program is when markets sell off. I'm aware we're constantly adding new affiliates all the time, but when markets sell off and things start to get a little bit hairy, I realize, we're reaching more people because the flood of emails and phone calls come in, and these are people haven't been listening long enough or paying attention long enough to the program, so it let situations like this roll off their back like it should. Welcome, everybody. And again, listen, we're inundated, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. And some of the people that are obviously sending in emails and the phone calls, all that stuff in response to other stuff or commenting on political things, I'd like to get back to everybody. But again, I have to deal first and foremost. It's our job to deal with everyone that's having issues with their portfolio, doesn't know what to do, is freaking out. And I hope everybody can understand that. I try to get to everyone, but again, there's only so many hours in the day. So let's deal with this, shall we? Let's deal with what's going on right now. Shouldn't bother you. Shouldn't bother you. Well, unless, of course, you've been doing the wrong thing. Unless, of course, you've decided that you were going to go all in on everything and anything tech, no matter what the numbers are, no matter whether or not the company has any earnings. It shouldn't bother you. It really shouldn't. You're getting comments out there, certain pundits. Oh, this inflation could lead to a recession and what that means. And I laugh. It's like, oh, my God, the recession monster's coming. Again, a recession is defined as 2 quarters in a row of negative economic growth. It happens sometimes. You know what also happens during recessions? Markets go up. Markets actually outperform during recessions. Why? Because the anticipation of coming out of that recession. Here's the bottom line, everybody. And again, okay, what I'm telling you works every single time it's tried. I don't know why. Again, it's human nature, I guess. I do know why. Human nature. Human beings are not wired to be good investors. Human beings, unfortunately, are always looking for some sort of shortcut. The basic theory of what we do and what we try to get across to people is that everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. It doesn't work well on business TV and business news. They like creating these gurus. These gurus out of thin air. Kathy, wow, she's brilliant, she's smart, she knows more than anybody. What? No, man. If you have a diversified portfolio consisting of high-quality companies, dividend-paying securities, turn off the noise, the static. If you have a long-term, goal-oriented financial plan, financial prep, tune out the bloody talking heads. Tune them out. Most of the financial industry, including the media, you understand that they're enriched by individuals acting out of greed or fear in an irrational manner. We went over this last week on the program. talking about get-rich-quick con artists being the world's second oldest profession, and the bait being used, greed and fear. I mean, they run the commercials on TV, and wow, I got this trading software, and I'm able to go surfing all day. Come on, man. Come on. It doesn't work that way. You know, you can take a look at what's going on in the economy. You can take a look at some of the economic numbers that have come out. Listen. Corporate profits, for the most part, pretty darn good. So, again, what do you do? What do you do? What should you always do? You should always invest in quality. You're hearing this phrase a lot now. Flight to quality. Flight to quality. Is there some sort of destination out there on the planet that I know about? It's called quality that you can take a flight to? There will always be a flight to quality. Always. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. My point is, why not always own quality? Why try to guess? Because you can't. You can't. You see, people, nobody in the history of the planet's able to judge what the markets are able to do over the short term. Not one. There hasn't been one. And when you think in the top of your head, types of investors, Warren Buffett and Munger, and there's a myriad of them out there. Take a look at their performance on a year-to-year basis. Take a look. Do they have Cathie Wood-like returns over the course of 1 year? No. But they're consistent over time. Consistent over time. Markets are going to do bizarre. They're going to do extraordinary things. But you can shield yourself from all of the noise, all of the narratives, if you own quality, if you focus on the fundamentals, if you actually take a look at a business plan and say whether or not this company is going to make money. What is the valuation of this company? Is it really worth that? I know the pundits are telling you it's worth that. Oh, they're bringing the real cool-looking CEO on. The real cool, the vision. And they come up with all of these fancy words. It's like they pick up a thesaurus and they just go nuts. I've seen this before. I've seen this plenty of times in my career. Now, in 3 decades, whether it be .com run-ups, whether it be people talking about real estate, it doesn't make any difference. They're always trying to sell you a load of goods to get you to do something stupid so you can be the last person holding the bag. Don't be that guy. Talked about victimization last week on the program. At some point in time, you have to stop being a victim. You need to do things the right way. They call these financial storms corrections. Whatever. If your dollar cost average, you're putting money away this month and you're able to buy some quality that's come down, that's good, is it not? You're trying to guess when the markets are going to get all these pundits. Oh, we think we might see the bottom right now. You don't know a damn thing. You don't. See, I'm one of the only guys out there that will tell you that. I'm telling you right now. I don't know when markets are going to turn and go back to the upside. I just know that they will. And while things are down, again, I'm able to reinvest dividends. We're able to dollar cost average and own quality so we can build wealth over time. There's a right way of doing things, and there's a wrong way of doing things. There's not a million different ways of doing things. I'm telling you that right now. There's just not. There's not. And until you completely get your arms around that, you're gonna continue to see yourself on a damn hamster wheel, spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. At some point in time, you just might want to get off and do things differently. Look at what you're doing as preparation and building. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break right here. And you know what? I'm going to retrench a little bit. And I'm all excitable today on the program. Nothing makes me happier than when I see people do well and doing things the right way. Again, I invite each and every one of you, take advantage of all the great stuff we have at our website, in particular, our Personal CFO program. Personal CFO program is basically a family office for everyone. For everyone. No. You don't need to be $10 million, $20 million. No, we help everyone out. We can put you on the right path. Check it out. My podcast, all sorts of great stuff. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. That's WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We also have a 24-hour-day help hotline, 800-471-5984. That's 800-471-5984. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Listen, okay, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm aware. I'm aware of what goes on when it comes to the planning, the brokerage industry, and how they ignore, talked about this plenty of times, they ignore the countless individuals out there that are working to build wealth. Again, for the most part, we've explained this before here on the program. Most of them are just looking, and they're just interested in working with individuals that are already wealthy. And in my humble opinion, it's my opinion, okay? It's my opinion. I think it's wrong. We at Markowski Investments are not about that. Why do you think I've been working on this radio show for 20 some odd years? I think that business model, for lack of a better word, sucks. Turning people away because they don't have $5 million, $10 million. No. This is a profession, and a true professional would look not to only manage people's existing wealth, but to build it as well. That's what we're about. So again, I encourage everybody out there, take advantage of everything that we have at our website. Don't be hesitant. Okay, so, they're not going to come help. They're not going to help me. Yeah, we will. Yes, we will. I want to get into our process again. I touched on it first part of the program. I think it's a good time. We come back to this often here on the radio program. It's good. Again, I talk about this in terms of working on the fundamentals. If you're a basketball player, you know what? You remember Larry Bird? You ever watch the training that he used to do? Was he out there practicing reverse dunks? No. 1,000,000 layups, right hand, left hand, 3-foot jumpers, free throws, the fundamentals. And we work on them all the time here on the program. There's four rules that we've talked about here for a very long period of time. Rule number one, real simple. Compounding is the royal road to riches. You don't have to believe me. You can believe Ben Franklin. You can believe Albert Einstein. Play with a compounding calculator. Play with it. And recognize that if you're putting money away on a regular basis and you see a certain rate of return over that period of time, but what the type of wealth that you're able to build. Another rule. And listen, okay, you think that I stole this from Gordon Gekko on Wall Street? No, don't lose money. You remember from Wall Street? Nothing ruins my day more than losses, bud. Don't lose money. Don't go taking crazy risk in your portfolio when you don't need to. I had this argument not too long ago. Again, young advisor talking about the need to be aggressive when people, you got to be really aggressive when you're younger, especially in these retirement accounts. And I'm like, why? Why do you need to be overly aggressive when you're younger? Well, you got more time to absorb all that risk. What? Well, if you understand that compounding is a royal road to riches and you can see a great rate of return, you can't access that money till much later on, why even risk? What's the point in speculating? Why lose money? You don't have to. And you're still going to become wealthy. And it kind of went one ear and out the other. Another simple thing. Invest like you're already wealthy. You get it? Do you think people who are wealthy, do you think that they take a ridiculous risk on in their portfolio? Sure, they may be able to take a tiny portion of their portfolio, which many of them do, and speculate on various different things, going into that investment, knowing that they could lose it all. But guess what? They're not going to take their entire portfolio. Hey, put it all on red. No, but put it all on number 19. No, they're not going to do that. It's stupid. Neither should you. Simple thing, people. Is just look for value. Look for value. I know I'm repeating myself. Been talking about this a lot over the past several months, and going back to intrinsic value. Going back to what is something worth? What is it really worth? We came under some might call it some fire, whatever. It bounces off me. I laugh at these people, at our criticism at some of these tech high flyers. Some of these tech high flyers. I would criticize here on the program as they're racing through the roof. And people, you're wrong on that one, Markowski. I'm like, yeah, you just wait. You just wait. I mean, I can take a look at a business. I can take a look at the overall market, the type of money they're going to make. I can take a look at a business plan. I can take a look at the valuation of that company at that point in time and tell you what's going to happen. I can tell you what is going to happen. I can't tell you when it's going to happen, but I tell you it's going to happen. So, again, let's kind of look at it in a different way, okay? If I were to tell you, if I knew that if you left your house today and you were going to drive to a certain location, okay, you were going to get into a car accident along the way. I don't know where along that location, but it's going to happen. Would you take the trip? Yeah, that's the point, people. You look to buy things on sale. You look to value in companies. Yeah, it has an intrinsic value. Buy it below, and you'll do well. You don't have to chase fear of missing out. Chasing these high flyers all over the bloody place is a complete waste of time. You understand? It's the importance. The importance, okay? You don't have to be right in the here and now, but you have to be right eventually. In other words, what conventional wisdom says is the greatest, what the pundits are saying, the greatest investment idea. What is the greatest investment idea, the greatest money manager today? More often than not is a lousy investment or idea. The markets, they're not efficient over the short term. They're not. Most of the calls, I freely admit this, the major calls, the stuff that we've been right on, whether it be the collapse of the dot-coms, Enron, the financial crisis, all of these major things that we've called, guess what? They were all contrarian at the time. Was I right the next day? Was I right the next month? In some cases, it took a long time. So, again, another attribute that you need to have, quite frankly, if you want to be a good investor, patience. Patience is important. We're going to delve further into this when we get back. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Again, become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street. Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
We are killing it today with the 80s bumpers music. We got the theme from St. Elmo's Fire. We got Till Tuesday. We got Cyndi Lauper. Yes. Besides, in our opinion, my humble opinion, greatest financial program of all time. Well, the longest running radio program of all time. We have the greatest bumper music as well. Anyway, let's delve back into this, talking about being patient. Patience, what also goes along with patience is you need to have a little bit of courage. You do. Stuff doesn't always go your way. Yep. And you need to stand in the face of all the chattering classes and the pundits. Yep. You have to. Again, I'll take a trip down memory lane, going back in time, late 1990s, a young version of myself doing radio appearances. This is before I had the radio show. Radio show started in 2000. Guest appearances here, there, and everywhere, and I explaining that earnings do happen to matter. And there's no such thing as a new paradigm. And we didn't enter this magical new era of a new economy where all laws of the universe were going to be suspended. Oh, I didn't know what I was talking about. I was an idiot, all that, nonsense. We were right. Yeah, guys, just be a student of history, and you'll see what's going to happen. Was that phrase that they say all the time? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Yeah. Go back to the 2008 through 2009. 2008, 2009, another period of time. We were scrambling. Trying to help people out and convince people that the world was not going to end, the sky wasn't going to fall. Many, on the other hand, decided to get involved with get-rich-quick con artists, you name it. Fill their safe with gold and silver coins, sell everything, sell, Mortimer, sell. Yeah, it was one of the greatest buying opportunities ever. Did you think acting out of fear? Do you think acting out of fear? Do you think that works? Do you think that's a trait or an action that is going to basically give you success? Bruce Lee, great martial artist, talked about being calm. Now, I may get all excitable here on the program and rant and rave, but when it comes to, we're calm. We're calm. We have to be calm. You do not want to make poor choices. Being courageous involves, again, you have to consider everything. Consider all of the facts. You have to learn to take emotion out of the decision-making process. And I said before, human beings, quite frankly, they're just not hardwired to be good investors. They're not. Every single study out there Buy high and sell low. Why? Because emotions take over way too easily. This is not a video game. All right? Stocks, again, I know we got all the high-frequency traders out there that, for them, it's a video game. There's a whole aspect of the market that you're not going to be able to participate in because guess what? You don't understand where the flow is going. You're not getting that information from the Robin Hoods and all those other ones out there. You don't have these high-speed computers that can trade in milliseconds. They're playing a video game, and they can move markets in either direction quickly. They can. You're not playing that. You're looking to own, right? You are looking to own. Stocks are an underlying ownership in companies. The price of a stock and the overall value of the company, that can be evaluated based upon the money the company makes, the future fundamentals, what the expectation, all of these things, you can do that. But when you're managing risk, you can love risk as long as risk doesn't lead to ruin. Okay, these are all things that you have to learn, that you have to accept if you want to build wealth. And that's what we're looking to do. If you thought you tuned into this program for the first time, you're listening to this show right now, you think I'm going to give you some sort of stock tip that's going to get rich quick. Again, change the channel and listen to the local schlock broker or that nice young gentleman that's pitching you at church or something like that and lose money. That's just not what we do. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Again, invite each and every one of you to become a part of our family, the Watchdog on Wall Street family at Markowski Investments. Sign up at our website. All sorts of great stuff. Personal CFO program, podcast, you name it. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
If I listen to your lies, would you say I'm a man?
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm persona non grata when it comes to CNBC because I just go off on them way too much. Even though I do, I'm a big Joe Kernan fan. I think he does an absolutely fantastic job. But I used to compete against Jim Cramer on the radio. He used to have a radio show. And he was, again, kind of like his Mad Money program, but it was more or less a buy, sell, and hold show. But I know Jim, I know what he's about. In fact, his my apartment in downtown New York, I used to live across the street from the New York Stock Exchange on Broadway. But he had his office behind on Beaver Street, and I had a loft there for a period of time, and he ran his hedge fund there. And I actually can read, people talked about how he was able at that point in time, based upon his connections, and move markets and trade on these things. Again, he puts himself out there as the guy. He's got his new investment thing that you can sign up for online, where he's giving advice. Advice on what? How to lose money? Is he teaching a class on how to lose money? Because man, he makes some pretty damn bad calls. And again, he's a television star. Right? He gets ratings, I guess, whatever ratings that they get on CNBC. This past week, he comes out and he makes the statement. I don't know, maybe he's changing his tune. I doubt it, but maybe he's changing his tune. Maybe he's listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street show. He said that investors should look to profitable companies for potential buying opportunities following another tech-driven sell-off. And I quote, a lot of the companies that came down yesterday were really, really good companies, and I think you should start buying them. He said buyers should avoid what he calls clown companies and invest their money elsewhere. What? For how long, Jim, do you guys, yourself and your other buddies on CNBC, bring the executives and the CEOs of these clown companies on your network to promote their crap? Or these clown money managers that you turn into gods and tell people how smart and how wonderful they are? How many times? We were making fun of Jim a couple weeks ago. The whole Theranos thing was going on. Oh, my God. He had Elizabeth Holmes on, basically lionized her. What a wonderful CEO. Are you kidding me? I'll go on. Look at any company that became public since 2018. We almost want to sell all of them. They're the ones that are pre-revenue, which is a hilarious term I haven't heard since 2000. You guys push this nonsense. Now you want to change your tune? You want to change the entire narrative? Because the advice that you have given has been God-forsaken awful? You bring these people on. You give them some sort of credibility. We've been the ones that telling you that the whole thing is a bloody fugazi. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Let me tell you that the losses that hit us, myself personally, and again, I have to live with this. I have to live with this. The losses that hit me. Like I said, we are on all over the country. Podcast is growing like gangbusters. Radio show everywhere. I get the phone calls, get the emails from people asking about this schlock broker, this advisor, this investment, whatever it may be. And we do our homework. I mean, it's this stuff that goes to the top of my list. Top of my list. And we do simple searches, things, the tools that we have, and we're like, this is the reality. This is what's going to happen. I would avoid this. And let's say my track record is not very good in convincing these people. It is one of the more difficult things to do. Sometimes the conversation eventually goes to where they get angry with me, upset with us, because we're not agreeing with them. We're not going along with what they've already decided in their mind. And later on down the road, never hear from these individuals again. They disappear. I'll look at a story. And I said, oh, my God, it rings a bell. I said, I warned people about that. This couple here, individual, a man once dubbed King Perry. That's what they called him. Well, they got him. He sentenced to 17 years in prison. Investment scam, collecting more than 115 million investors. Big Ponzi scam. All sorts of sham companies. You know how long it took me to figure out that this was a racket? Not very long. But again, what am I supposed to do? I can try to explain to people. I can try to get, this is what is going to happen. This is shady here. Something's wrong here. But if they already, in their mind, they've already started counting their money that they've made. This is part of the scam. Like I said, talk about get rich quick. And get rich quick con artists. They paint a picture. And what they do is they break you down. They break you down. They find out what your greed buttons are. It's greed buttons, what you're passionate about. And they fuel that. They hit those. Like little dopamine. Boom, 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 boom. And in your mind, you've already made the money. I see this happen all the time, in particular in the South, Texas, other places, where these con artists, they'll manipulate their way, churches, prayer groups, and they know they're with good people. Oh, do you understand the type of money that you're going to be able to make, the amount of money you're going to be able to give back to your church or give to your favorite charity? They hit those buttons. And it might not be someone's personal greed. It might be their desire to be benevolent. They figure it out and they go after you. More and more. Here's one out of North Carolina. These guys, this D&T Investments, took the money and they put it in their pockets. Investors were told the money was going to be invested in the stock market. They had fake account statements. And this was the kicker with this. The returns that they were sending to their clients, 40% a month. 40% a month. You do realize if anybody was ever capable of showing that level of return, it really wouldn't take that long. Play with a compounding calculator that you would become the wealthiest person on the planet. 40% a month. This is how Harry Markopolos figured out mathematically that Madoff was a scam. I knew Madoff was a scam simply by the account statements he was sending out on a dot matrix printer. I said, something's amiss here. This is wrong. 40% a month? You know, to me, I'm sorry, people, that's just not possible. And this is the key. I know it's good. You want to save money, you want to put money away, but you have to also understand what the markets can do for you and what you can expect out of them. And you need to do a little bit of homework. And 40% a month is just not possible. It's just not possible. Former financial advisor sentenced to 14 years in federal prison for a $12 million fraud that caused clients to lose retirement savings. Who they go after? Elderly people. I basically break down the same exact thing. Going church groups. Basically, it was some secured real estate investment program that invested in government-backed tax liens, asset-backed deed certificates, and distressed commercial and residential properties. And it's just guaranteed rate of return. Guaranteed rate of return from 5 to 10%. Now, this is a different type of scam. This is one that says, hey, listen, okay, that's what this guy did. All that money you've got in the stock, you're going to lose all your money in the stock market. I can give you guaranteed results. And they give a reasonable number between 5 and 10%. You're going to inquire on how you're reasonably going to see 5 to 10% on this? Anyway, we're here to help, people. We're here to help. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Take advantage of all the great stuff that we have at our website. Personal CFO program, account repair kit, podcast, watchdog on wallstreet.com, or give us a call, 800-471-5984. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Yes, it is. Welcome back, everybody. It is the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Again, and it's always an honor to be in front of the microphone and get to converse with everyone every week on the terrestrial radio programs and every day when it comes to the podcast. Again, inviting each and every one of you to sign up for our podcast at watchdogonwallstreet.com. I do my darndest to keep it short and sweet. Right around a half an hour. Average around a half an hour, 35 minutes every single day going over some of the big stories of the day. I had to change course a little bit with the radio show this week and what we need to talk about due to the President Joe Biden press conference, presser on Wednesday. I didn't know that was coming, and again, we're going to have to incorporate it into the domestic stuff that we need to discuss here on the program. I put everything away. I turned it on, started watching it. I'd say maybe about 15, 20 minutes into the press. Again, I start checking message. I start becoming distracted, and I shut the whole thing off about 80% in, and I walked away. I'm not one of those see I told you so's when it comes to political stuff by any stretch of the imagination. I do think that most of the country understood what we were getting in Joe Biden. Anybody that has paid close enough attention to politics and domestic policy like we do knows. You get with Joe based upon his, what he was doing when he was vice president, for crying out loud. Obama couldn't send him all over the globe fast enough to get him out of Washington, D.C. But this completely denying what you said just a couple days prior to this drive by the administration to present what has happened in his first year in office as this great success. Talks about, greatest year ever. Greatest year ever in job creation. Oh, my God, it's been great. I can explain it this way. If next year, the New York Jets won, 4 games this year? If the New York Jets win 6 games next year, do you think the head coach is going to come out and say, we won 50% more games than we did the year prior? This is a great success. We're 6 million jobs less than it was prior to COVID. This is what these people do, okay? And it's unfortunate. They like to play to the lowest common denominator. That's what they like to do, the lowest common denominator. They talk about the unemployment rate. Again, but how many people are employed? And look at the wage Joe was talking about. Look, wages! My God, look at wages have gone. Well, you're getting raises. People are getting raises in America. No, they're not. They're not getting raises because the money that they're getting is worth less. It's worth less than it was prior. It doesn't go as far. This is the reality, and you did this by spending too much damn money. His big success, 1.9, well, according to him, $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. COVID relief, $1.9 trillion. Do you remember what the case count was when that thing passed? The case count was, you can't even compare it to today. Can't even compare. Now, granted, Omicron, completely different. Got that through via what? Reconciliation. Reconciliation. Refused to compromise with anybody in the Republican Party. Shoved that one down our throats. Now I got his infrastructure bill. Anybody know where any of that money's going? They even start doing anything with that? They fill in potholes or anything? Kind of like the Obama American Recovery Reinvestment Act. You know, how was that used? Got that. He got Republicans to sign off on that as long as they made it a little bit smaller. And in his press conference, he claims that if you pass Build Back Better, another massive spending bill, and it's magic, the magic of Joe Biden. Only taxes are going to only go up if you make more than $400,000 a year. It's going to make inflation go away. Going to make inflation go away. What else is it going to do? Make inflation go away. It's going to, only tax tonight. Oh, it's going to, I forgot. Yes, it's going to reduce our deficit. It's going to reduce it. Does anybody out there at all, outside of you really deep down, I mean, you got to be a real cult member to actually believe any of that BS. When has any government spending package program ever reduced the deficit? Any time in history? No. Again, it was asked. I want to get into the Federal Reserve. It was asked about inflation. And he talked about the Federal Reserve and a dual mandate. A dual mandate, and it's dealing with unemployment and dealing with inflation, and they've got the tools to handle it. No, they don't. Those tools are gone. They are limited in what they can do. I know there's been some discussion this past week. Whoa, maybe Fed might raise by 50 basis points. They might. They might be 5 rate increases this year. And what? We're still talking historically low numbers. Historically low numbers. And yeah, it's going to take some air out of various different asset classes. Mortgage rates are coming up. That's going to take some air out of real estate, and it's going to also take some air out of these speculative areas of the stock market. There's no doubt about that. But it's not enough to curb inflation, especially when you want to keep spending and spending and spending. The Federal Reserve knows the type of damage that could be wrought if they brought rates up to where they're supposed to bring rates up to. Yeah, again, it's not only that with the Federal Reserve. He mentioned a dual mandate. Did you just see he's talking about these people he's appointing to the Federal Reserve? He wants the Federal Reserve to start picking and choosing who they're going to lend money to. Who they're going to start picking and choosing. Oh, if you're not socially diverse, if you're not a woke company, if you're not dealing with climate change. What was this? Sarah Bloom Raskin actually said, well, we shouldn't be giving money to any of these old school type programs. This was back when they were giving out COVID relief. That's not your job. That's not what you're supposed to do. But that's the area that they want to get into. This micromanaging of the economy. We talk about China as being our adversary. We want to govern more and more like China. I remember talking about it here on the program. That it wasn't so much a Freudian slip as a guy basically laying out what his belief system was. Remember Roger Friedman. New York Times columnist, esteemed columnist, wonderful freedom. Dr. Roger Friedman. Excuse me, Tom Friedman. My God, my bad. Tom Friedman, New York Times. And he's being interviewed on, Meet the Press or something like that. I think David Gregory was interviewing, and he's talking about how he was in China and just how awesome it was. Awesome and the high-speed internet and the lights and the bells and whistles and how wonderful it was. This is back when Obama was president. And he comes back and he lands at the airports here in New York and felt like it was third world. And I'm not arguing with him. Yeah, we got a lot of infrastructure work that we need to do. But he makes a point. He said, man, if Obama only had the power of these rulers in China to make these decisions, man, look at what we'd accomplish. Oh, yeah. The largest in China right now, the largest asset class in the entire world is the Chinese property market, and it's collapsing. How did that micromanagement work? They're tearing down empty buildings everywhere. How is that working out? You see, that's the thing. All of these wizards of smart that think that they can fix everything, make everything better, they inevitably make things worse. Look at all the smarty pants that were there to handle COVID. This is going back to the Trump administration, okay? This is going back to the Trump administration. That's Trump's fault. For all you super Trumpsters out there, he had some bad hires. He had some bad hires, and you know what? He didn't do what he used to do on The Apprentice and say, you're fired. Now, he's stuck with them because of politics at the time. How'd that work out for the country? How'd all those lockdowns work out? Work out good? Huh? How about think about all those cloth masks that you bought from China over the past couple of years. You might as well just flushed your money down the toilet. Right? They're useless. But we knew that already. We discussed it here. How are these things going to actually, it was just using any sort of thought process or common sense. I actually got asked that question. I said, when did you know? When did you know the whole thing was ridiculous? From the very beginning. The very beginning. My dad, father, school teacher, but he's a microbiologist. And I've always loved to read science. It's just one of the things. I understand that if you're saying that there's this awful virus going around, it's probably not a good idea to send everybody to the same location. Oh, yeah. Do you remember back in the beginning? All stores, you must shut down. Every single store except essential businesses. So you go to the Target to buy groceries and the place is packed. So you mean to tell me this is good from an epidemiological point of view to send everybody to the same location? Think it's wise? No. Again, all you needed to be was a bit of a critical thinker. Anyway, we got a lot we're going to do on domestic stuff today. Important. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Take a quick break right here. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Take advantage of all the great stuff that we have right there at our site. Personal CFO program. I got to get into that a little bit. A podcast, account repair kits, annuity help kits, you name it. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to The Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street. Let's talk a little bit about inflation. You take a look across the board. Wholesale prices jumping to a record. Oil prices hit 7-year high. You watch the president try to explain that. You watch him trying to explain that. And I always go back. It always pops into my mind. They loved making fun of Sarah Palin. Oh my God. Everyone. Oh, even the Republican, the Bushwood Country Club Republicans out there. She was just some idiot. She can go to any Ivy League school. Drill, baby, drill. It worked. It's you think about it and how far we've come and what we were able to accomplish. And you go back and you remember the oil lines that I remember. You go back to the 1970s, the gas lines, oil embargo. We become energy independent. We are the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. Yeah, we can't even put gas pipelines in. Can't. You know, it was floated into Boston Harbor this past week. Liquefied natural gas from Russia. Because we cannot get things done. Rand Paul, and full disclosure here. Again, I voted for his father, and I wanted him. Again, my libertarian leanings, without a doubt. Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee in the U.S. Senate, ranking member Rand Paul, he puts out a report on inflation this past week. I want to go over some of this. Milton Friedman, he quotes, suggests in a speech amidst the period of rising prices in the 1980s, inflation can be thought of as a hidden tax for rampant government action. Though the U.S. government has not levied taxes to pay for $4.9 trillion in COVID relief, we're paying. We're paying. They said Biden coming out and say, hey, you Build Back Better. We're going to build back better and build back better. We're not going to be any taxes being raised on anybody. That's bull excrement. It is. It's a hidden tax. The value of your money is going backwards. And again, who does this hit? 71% of households making under $40,000 annually have indicated economic hardships from rising prices. Now, 29% of people making over $100,000 are saying it's affected them. You understand? Low and middle income families spend a larger portion of their income on high inflation items. Gasoline, used cars, food. Families in the lowest income quartile spend nearly 40% of their annual income on those categories. People in the top spend about 10% of their income on those. So how is this helping? How is this helping the average American out there, huh? And again, I don't like putting people into various different groups. None of this is good. It's a tax. It's hitting small businesses. 82% of small businesses reported raising prices. 42% reported raising prices by 20% or more. And another aspect of that, too, is the shrinkflation. That's everywhere. You order something, you got your favorite restaurant. You used to go in and get this big, nice plate of calamari. Now it's half the size. You'd have that nice pour on your glass of wine that's now been cut in half. This is what this has done. This is just economic reality. And it was, plain as day, was easy to predict. And they think that all of a sudden it's just going to go away. Oh, we got supply chain issues. Yeah, sure. Some of that stuff has added to problems. You know what's also added to problems? Loss prevention. Did you see this past week? Honestly, I missed it when it first came out. That's not usual for me. I saw the pictures. Saw the pictures outside the train tracks, on either side of the train tracks in Los Angeles, where you get people, everybody's Jesse James. It's Jesse James in 2022. Everybody's robbing trains. They jump on these slow-moving trains. They got their bolt cutters. They cut. Then they just start throwing boxes off, and then they kind of rummage through. And then you've got this whole group of scavengers looking for stuff amongst what's left. When they arrest these people, they let them go to come back and rob trains again. We call that progress. We go, this is progressive. Progress is good. Let's not go after these people. That's terrible. What are you, out of your mind? Is that not inflationary? Do not businesses have to pay for this? Of course they do. Anyway, again, people, crazy crazy world we're living in. Maybe we're just trying to deal with it. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Again, inviting everybody to become part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. All sorts of great stuff there at the site. Personal CFO program, amongst many others. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Since we started this program, even before the program, we originally putting together Markowski Investments. My brothers and I were trying to help people out that we knew were going to get ripped off. We were targeting the clients of the boiler room operators. Yeah, Wolf on Wall Street clients and the many other firms out there. And we basically put together a program. Many of them had already lost a great deal of money, and how they could build back their assets over time. That was our original program. This is going back to the early to mid-1990s, our account repair program. I think it's been about a year and a half to 2 years. We've had our personal CFO program, which has been it's been phenomenal. It really has. Basically, the concept is this, and nobody else is delivering this. At least for everyone. You know, granted, you got a family office. You got that type of wealth where you've got your lawyer, you've got your accountant, and you've got your personal money manager, just manages your money. That's family office. We are bringing the family office to everyone. You have access to our accountants. You have access to our attorneys, and, of course, you have access to us. And becoming a part of the Markowski Investments personal CFO program, you're going to navigate financial storms, corrections, volatility. Spoke a lot about this first hour of the program. The ability to recognize, avoid serious risk, to discern the difference. And you'll learn that from this program, too, the difference between conventional wisdom, the conventional wisdom of the day, and the reality of the terrain. When I talk about the reality of the terrain, I often say it here on the program. And again, we're having people, new listeners all the time. And I automatically expect that you know what the hell I'm talking about. It's a mistake. I got to go back sometimes. There's concept out there. And this is the Navy SEAL. Navy SEAL, the SEALs are going out on a mission, and they are planning for a mission, and they've got their map. They've got their map of the terrain. And then they're dropped off, and they swim ashore, and they recognize that the map's wrong. The map was inaccurate, and the terrain is completely different. So what do? Do they go with the map that was wrong, or do they actually improvise and adjust to the terrain? Conventional wisdom is poison. The crap that they're pushing on you is poison. We deal with reality. We deal with the terrain. Anyway, again, inviting everybody, become a part of Markowski Investments, our Watchdog on Wall Street personal CFO program. You just get to our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com and sign up for it there. I want to talk about one of my favorite amendments to the Constitution, the 10th Amendment. And again, I believe that we've got to get back to basics and back to state rights. And we'll talk a little bit later. I was last weekend. I was in Florida, the free state of Florida, and man, it's certainly different than it is here in New York. And Ron DeSantis there in Florida is doing a hell of a job in running his state in a way where, again, I felt normal again. I did. California is making news right now because they are looking to do away with Medicare, Medicaid, and health insurance, and they are going to have universal health care for California. And, yeah, they're going to raise your taxes. The top rate in California is the state income rate. Tax is going to go to 18%. 18%. The numbers are mind-boggling. Again, we have many radio stations in California. I've got many clients in California, many listeners in California. At some point in time, people, you're going to have to make a decision. If California, the people running California, people that are elected in California, want to wreck their state, want to force more businesses out, more people out, none of my business. It is none of my business. If they want to wreck it, wreck it. I feel bad for you. But again, there's a reason why U-Haul is doing a brisk business out of the state of California. There's a reason behind that. This is going to mass exodus. It's going to be a mass exodus out of the state. And the people that are leaving are the ones that are supposed to pay for all of these government programs. How do you think that's going to work? But again, Thomas Jefferson talked about this, and states being little laboratories to, try different things out. Have at it. Have at it. We've watched a lot of laboratories around the country, right? We watched the laboratory in New York City and Portland and Minneapolis, and how all these progressive policies, Los Angeles, how well they're working out, right? They're working out just fine. Not. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more we got to go over. Watchdog on WallStreet.com, our 24-hour-a-day help hotline, 800-471-5984.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. I just popped into my head. This was back in the 1990s. There was this money manager in New York. He would be at all of the lounges and the clubs, and he was this money manager to all of these celebrities. And it was Leonardo DiCaprio and all these people. It was a scam. I'm trying to remember the guy's name off the top of my head. But, man, he lost a fortune for all of these celebrities. But, again, he's a celebrity. I'm going to make another 10, 15 million on my next movie. Last week on the program, we were talking, what was it? It was some crypto coin, Kim Kardashian. There was other celebrities and whatnot that were involved in pushing this thing, and there being a lawsuit. Have you seen Matt Damon? Lately, Matt Damon pushing crypto in some commercial. Crypto exchange. I don't even know what the hell it is. And he ends with the Romans said, fortune favors the brave. Reese Witherspoon is pushing crypto too. You're gonna go to these idiots for investment advice? That's about as smart as going to them for political advice. Are you kidding me? Who the hell, again, you got to be a special type of hooker, okay, to prostitute yourself out like this. Who the hell do you think you are? You're going on, you're going to tell people that this is a great investment, you should do something. You don't know these people. You don't know who's listening. How you feel at the slightest bit, any sort of remorse or guilt? I don't, again, I don't know how people do this. I really don't. I don't know how people do it. Let me tell you another story here. This is out of Arizona, where you had another precious metal dealer, another multi-million-dollar investment scam. Trying to scare people into things. I'm going to tell everybody something. You're going to be surprised by this. Been doing this show again for over 20 years. I don't take a dime in advertisement money. I don't. Not a dime comes to my pocket. I know we have commercial breaks, right? Commercial breaks. I don't get a dime of that. I don't get a dime. I choose not to. I choose not for people also. We want to advertise on your program and we'll pay this, but no. No, I don't. Listen, it's not something that we believe in. I tell you a quick story here about one of these gold companies that advertised heavy on Glenn Beck's and other program. They're wanting to be on the program and making me an offer I couldn't refuse for all of this money based upon the money they brought in. It was a scam. I'm like, how do you pay that type of commission unless you're ripping people off? But again, like I said, some people out there, they just really don't care. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street. This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You know what? I got it's a pretty good story. Back in the early years, Watchdog on Wall Street show was on a major radio network with some pretty prominent hosts. Even back at that point, I used to actually fill in guest hosts for Michael Savage, and actually, I never got gonged. I did the show several times until the producers said, we're not going to use you anymore because then I was kind of honored by it. You're doing too good of a job and you're not supposed to show up the hosts. But anyway, Michael Savage oftentimes, if the guest host was bad, would just cut in the middle of the program and throw them out. But anyway, you had other major hosts on the program, on that network. Laura Ingraham was on there. Here's a little inside baseball for you. Laura Ingraham can never run for political office because the producers at that network still have tapes of her and the stuff that she used to say and how nasty she was to the people that work there. And I'm not making that up. Again, story for another day. But all these radio shows, they have gold salespeople on there all the time, and gold company wants to advertise on my program, and I got a call from them. And I mean, quite honestly, I didn't understand how that industry worked. We put commodities in people's portfolios, and we have a way of doing it. But it's selling physical gold, and they're explaining to me. They said, "Well, we run your advertisements and on your show, and for every dollar that you get to keep." Every dollar that comes in to buy gold, you get to keep 25, 30%. I forget what the number was. It was astronomical. And I'm like, what? Our average client thinks 1% a year, for crying out loud. How in the world is this possible? Yeah, again, right away, you don't need to be a brain surgeon to understand that the people buying this stuff are getting ripped off. And again, I'm sorry. At some point in time, people, you have to be responsible for who's advertising on your program. Somebody that being a Hannity out there with his day trading company. Yeah, I don't even think they're around anymore, for crying out loud. People lost so much money. At some point in time, you have to take responsibility. You have to own it. Anyway, let's get into some of the business stories this past week. I mentioned earlier on in the program the amount of heat that I took wasn't that long ago when I was making fun of Peloton. Now, I'm not making fun of Peloton in what they're trying to do and trying to get people into shape and exercising. Okay? I think that is great. And we've talked about that all the time. Your wellness and your health is a part of your financial preparation. It's smart. What we were talking about is we're saying, wait a second, you've got an exercise bike company with basically an iPad attached to it. and you're selling it for thousands of dollars. Great, you're getting people to buy it, but your company is valued at how many billions of dollars? And we said, this is just ridiculous. It's not worth this. That valuation is ridiculous. Yeah, it's thinking about. You remember? I made Breaking Bad fans. I mean, Breaking Bad fans out there. When Walter White and his wife need to come up with a way to launder money. They want to buy a car wash. And the guy who owned the car wash used to employ Walter White. And Walter was nasty to him and found out that Walter White wanted to buy his car wash, and he said his price was $20 million, which was patently absurd. Just like the valuation of Peloton was patently absurd. And now we're seeing a company who just lowered its prices, or that's going to raise its prices. The lesson behind this, people, is you got to take a look at the business. Again, we've talked about this earlier on the program, and you need to understand valuation. Another big business story from this past week, Microsoft, a $68 billion plus deal for Activision. Activision goes way back. Activision's back in the 1980s. There's Atari games way back in the day. Again, is a big tech kind of taking over the world. The question is whether or not they're going to allow this deal to go through. Don't know. We'll see. But again, this also points, you got a lot of the legacy media companies out there that don't have a clue. They're way behind the eight ball. They're trying to find their way forward, and they're just not able to do that. Goldman Sachs this past week, their profit declined by 13%. You know why? They paid their bankers a ton of money. I kid you not. You take a look at their numbers. The reason why their profit's down is just because they're paying everybody more money that actually works at the company. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about the financial companies. They're going to be just fine. Just fine. We talked about this. We've been talking about this for a while here on the program, going back to Evergrande. But even prior to Evergrande, it was the inevitable implosion of the Chinese property market. You can only keep stuff up for so long. Eventually, it's going to collapse. The belief system will come down. There's a reality to it. And the Chinese property market, like I said, and we can actually go back to the 1980s, where the value of certain real estate, like a small plot of real estate in Tokyo, was worth more than Manhattan. It's ridiculous. And you've got to understand that it's ridiculous. And the Chinese property market is ridiculous. Now, you've got more companies and China's property market starting to crash. How is China going to handle this? Well, they just lowered rates again. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to go about propping this up. But there's going to be pushback because people have put their life savings into these homes there. And again, they're either not having them delivered or the valuation is falling apart. It doesn't end well. And now we're getting back to that point. Is this China's quote, unquote, Lehman Brothers moment? I don't know. We shall see. But it's a lesson in trying to micromanage an economy. You want a successful economy, you want government the hell out of it. You want people tinkering the hell out of it. You want all the king's horses and all the king's men to stay away. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.